Since the Supreme Court in 2024 gave every directive that monies to local government accounts should be sent directly to them, the question still remains, is that directive being followed? And what needs to be done to ensure that there's true separation of power, especially as it concerns state governors giving local government their full autonomy? Well, with that in mind, I want to quickly welcome you to another lovely time. Once again, on Atlantic TV is Viewpoint, and always, my name is Michael Mbadia.
With all of the dramas playing out in the Ned Nwoko and Regina's issue, some persons are coming out to say, Ned, face your problem, don't bring me into it. Well, who is saying this? You have to stay tuned on Atlantic TV because all of this will be coming up later today on Trending. Having that in mind, I am Mercy Erabo. Welcome to Viewpoint on Atlantic TV. You know what Viewpoint is all about? We start with the dailies, we go straight into the dialogue, and the news comes around, and of course, Trending that you do not want to miss. Well, we need to go on this quick break, and once we return, the dailies will be next.
Alright, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor Edi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Well, 7 papers is what we have for review today. A large number, you say. We have the Tribune, we have Daily Trust, we have The Nation, These Day, The Guardian, The Punch, and also the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see if we start with The Punch and see what The Punch has as a major one on this front page. And on The Punch this morning, the leading story reads, Troop pound terror bases in key states. We're still talking about the Trump threat. 86 rescued in air-ground assault on Borno, Kwara, Kistina. Boko Haram ISWAP clash leaves 50 dead. And well, more of that you can get on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see if we take some other major one. $14 million probe. EFCC puts Silva on FBI Interpol watch list. It's a major one on page 41. Over 100,000 policemen assigned to VIPs. No wonder we rarely see police anywhere. But anyway, get that story on page 22. 9 banks pocket 14.7 trillion naira interest income. It's a huge profit taking that you can get on page 37. Presidency eyes NNPC shake up as oil output falters. And you can also get that story on page 35 of the Punch newspaper. Let's see if we take some other major stories still on the front page of the Punch. PDP conversion, Wike block petitions, NJC is a major one on page 25. Motorists stranded as Oyo resident protest road extension is also on page 4. Gaming bill, Lagos sues National Assembly for contempt. It's a major one on page 6. But what you also find on page 25 is Tinubu pushes Siemens deal for fresh 400,000 megawatt power. And funny enough, that's the picture of the day. And indeed, Mr. President is all smiles. That's the much you can take from the Punch.
Let's check out the stories making it to the headlines of the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian this morning, the lead story reads that 3 years later, hope dims for safer pipeline supplies of jets A1 to airports. More of that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Reps loads Tinubu's intervention, payments of protesting contractors. More of that is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Again, court adjourns suit on PDP convention. That very one is on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. EFCC declares ex-governor Silva wanted for alleged fraud. You can get more of that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Guardian newspaper. World Health Organization declares 24 million living with diabetes in Africa. Wow, that's a lot.
Now you know Gary is doing a lot.
That's a lot. Yes, Gary's doing a lot. Well, more of that is on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. A fraud apathy threatening democracy, Dixon Amechi say on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. A federal government urges calm as Soyinka Northern groups reject Trump's genocide claim. You can get that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Telecoms operators warn of regulatory conflicts in a digital economic bill, and that's on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. 2027, 70 CSOs demand enforcement of laws to curb vote buying. More of that is on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Let's see what we have as the picture of the day. Yeah, that's screaming. The lead story that 3 years later, hope teams for safer pipeline supplies of Jet A1 to airports. This is actually highlighting Nigerians' infrastructure problems and the delay in restoring the aviation fuel pipeline system that could ease congestion and reduce cost. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Guardian newspaper.
Well, the next paper for us to quickly look at is This Day, today, Tuesday. And on This Day newspaper, the leading story reads, Tinubu moves to fast-track Siemens power project, recommits to stable electricity. And riders to follow that, President says no economic development without reliable power supply, direct expansion of transformer substations to 3 phases. Deal seeks to raise Nigerian power supply to 25 GW from current 5 GW. Well, anyway, we just hope that's come to reality. But I'll tell you to definitely read up all those stories on page 10 of This Day newspaper. Let's see if we take some other major stories still on the front page of This Day newspaper. A whole lot seems to be there. Well, yes, alleged $1 billion loan claim. Nest Oil queries First Bank Nigeria Quest refusal to provide the bank statement. A move to appoint 10 local and international forensic auditors for all its Nigerian bank accounts. But anyway, get more of that account on page 10. At 6.5 million, Nigeria total metering rate is 55%. Active customers now near 12 million. Well, anyway, we do know, but we need more power. But take more of that on page 30. Soyinka, Nigeria crisis not Christian-Muslim war, but battle against extremists is his own view on page 26. EFCC declares ex-minister Timipre Silva wanted over alleged $14.8 million refinery fraud. Is a major one that's not a fraud but a true tale on page 10 of This Day newspaper. Let's see if we say another major one, if there are any. Well, anyway, it's more like taking the picture of the day. And, well, it's a major telecom company partners appreciation gala night. And, well, you can see the winners right there, all smiling to the bank. Well, anyway, that's enough smile, and that's This Day for today.
Let's see what the nation has for us today. On the nation this morning, the lead story, airstrikes kill terrorists in Borno, pound hideouts in Katsina, Kwara. Troops launch blistering attacks, 200 ISWAP fighters killed in clash with Boko Haram. That's a very disturbing one. On page 2 of the nation newspaper, Okpewolo revokes museum's Sea of O, takes European Union envoys to Monarch. That very one is on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. A silver wanted by EFCC over $14.8 million fraud. Ex-minister it's a winch hunt. That story is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Religion not Nigeria's crisis, says Soyinka. We are dealing with extremists. More of that is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Nakon slashes 2026 Hajj fare to 7.6 million naira, and that's on page 4. What we still have on page 4, lottery, Lagos sues National Assembly for defying a Supreme Court. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still at the front page of the Nation newspaper. A PDP faction asks NJC to sanction Ibadan judge. A court to hear case on convention tomorrow. More of that is on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. A federal government cement scales up 2.3 billion euro power project Project generates $2.2 billion investments. More of that is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Yeah, we still have some. UNNVC objects to ex-minister Onanji's certificate forgery suits. Well, more of that is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. Let's see what we have as the picture of the day. Yeah, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu pushing forward the cement energy power deal, a major step towards transforming Nigeria's electricity sector. In the photo, we can see top officials from cement energy and government officials during an audience with the president in Abuja yesterday. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Nation newspaper.
Well, I know you trust us to give you more. And yes, Daily Trust is where we're going next, right here as we look at the papers today. On Daily Trust, the leading story reads, bandits attack 5 vehicles, dump passengers in Kogi. Is a very disturbing one on the mining with fuel. More is also being done by the Nigerian army to deal with them. But I'll just tell you to get more of that story on page 5. Obasanjo, under my watch, United States will not do anything in Africa without our knowledge. Well, anyway, screaming at that lad on page 8. Abuja Hospital mortuary drowns in stench and decay. Is a very disturbing story on page 18. Silver, EFCC put FBI, NCA, Interpol on alert. It's a major one on page 4. But let's see if we take some other major leading stories here on the front page of, Daily Trust. A federal government pushes for Ekwerimadu's transfer to Nigeria. And would he want to come? Well, knowing that the food overseas, especially in the correctional facilities, seems to be better. I didn't say so, but just a thinking. Page 6 has more of that story. PDP convention, Damago-led National Working Committee Malls Wiki expulsion is on page 10. NAHCOM reduces Hajj fare to 7.6 million naira. Well, I see a high one on page 7. Many killed as Boko Haram ISWAP clash in Lake Chad region. All about resources and control. It's a major one on page 2. But the picture of the day is a sad reality of the bosses that were really attacked by bandits in that adoption of about 5 persons, and these all played out in Kogi during the weekend. Quite sad it is.
Yeah, let's check out for stories making it to the headlines of the Nigerian Tribune. On the Nigerian Tribune this morning, the lead story, Boko Haram ISWAP clash at Borno border, over 150 killed. A Nigerian Air Force kills ISWAP terrorists. Bandits in precision airstrikes across northern states. A police partner DSS orders to intensify patrol operations around churches in Abuja. Well, that's very disturbing story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at some more leading stories still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Reps invite EFCC ICPC to probe $4.6 billion global funds USAID grants. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. EFCC declares Tim Praise Silver wanted. That's a big story on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. Yes, let's take a look at some more leading ones still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. We place high premium on stable power. And this is coming from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on page 5 of the Nigerian Tribune. A National Hajj Commission announces cuts in 2026 Hajj fares, and that story is on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune. Coffee may protect against irregular heartbeats by 39%, and this is coming from Study. Yes, you can get that on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Historical mistrust, land grabbing, illegal mining, banditry trigger violence. And this is coming from Presidency. As Tinubu receives zonal brief on security and infrastructure. That very story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Okpewolo revokes MOWAS CFO, asks sites to be returned to Benin Central Hospital. And you can get more of that on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. Wildlife tracking, court sends 2 to prison, others for feature of gorilla. You can get that on page 17 of the Nigerian Tribune. Let's take a look at the picture of the day. We're still talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu pushing forward the cement energy power deal. Well, that's all we're taking this morning on the Nigerian Tribune.
Well, the Vanguard will be the last paper of all 7 that we've taken. And on the Vanguard this morning, just like many others, Nigerian Air Force strike kills terrorists, bandits in Brunei, Kwara, Kestina, others. We're still talking about insecurity. Right as to follow. FCT Police, DSS commence special patrols in places of worship, border areas. 4 nursing mothers adopted in Kano. Sad it is. Governor Sule orders manhunt after midnight attack in Kwana local government area. No inch of KB under bandits control. Governor Idris. Over 100,000 or 100 killed as Boko Haram faction clash with ISWAP in Brunei border community with Niger Republic. Our progressive governors tax monarchs to involve local spiritual powers against insecurity nationwide. Well, anyway, just get more of that story on page 5. Well, let's see if we take some other major stories still on the Vanguard newspaper. Nigerian private sector credit soars by 75.9% in 2 years. It's a screamer on page 19. 2027, rigging was cool, according to Dixon and Amicho on page 16. On page 9, let's unite against extremism. Olubadon, Shoinka, NHRC is screaming out that loud. PDP, pro-anti-convention forces fighters, caught a John case to November 12th. It's also on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's see if we take some other major stories still on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Why we declared Timipre Silva wanted, according to the EFCC, is coordinated political onslaught aid as Ijo Youth kicks on page 7. Shocker! Shele, all the salaries ahead of World Cup playoffs, and Nigerians will say, when will all of this stop? But don't stop reading that story up on page 32. Trump threatens BBC with $100 or $1 billion lawsuit over January 6 speech edit as BBC DG Dave CO resigns. World Health Organization, FCDO Hill Umba commitment to health development is also a major one on page 11. But the picture of the day is that of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he receives an order for the Siemens Group indicating that they will definitely put up about 4,000 megawatts of electricity into the national grid. And many will say, well, that will be a thing to see. But anyway, that's much you can take from the papers. Like I will always implore you, if you find any that truly fancies your reading, well, you do yourself a great deal by going to get them and read them all up. And definitely you be abreast with what seems to be happening in the country. But you do know we'll always enjoy doing these every lovely morning and every day as we bring all the papers to you on your doorstep. And you do know not just only that, but beautiful programs still to come. That's why we need to go on the break now, and dialogue will take center stage next, right here on Viewpoint on Atlantic TV.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace. Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Behind closed doors, too many suffer in silence. Too many lives are scarred by violence in the very place that should bring peace, the home. Domestic violence is not love. It is pain. It breaks trust, destroys lives and families, and steals futures. Domestic violence is not a private matter. It's a violation of dignity, and it must end. Because hitting a woman does not make you a man, but correcting her in love and staying in peace with her is God's plan. Together, we can raise our voices, protect the vulnerable, and rebuild lives. Say no to silence. Say no to fear. Say no to domestic violence. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined, uniquely different.
The Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and other federal agencies has revealed that there is no veritable evidence showing that local government allocation from the Federation account reaches the councils directly, exposing this during a long suspected mystery surrounding local government finance in Nigeria. This revelation reinforces widespread concerns about the lack of transparency, accountability, and autonomy of the local government council, despite constitutional and judicial provisions guaranteeing them such independence. This disclosure was made in Jos Plateau State during a capacity building workshop on the local government accountability framework for 17 local government area chairmen in the state. The event was organized by the Rule of Law and Anti-Corruption Program, funded by the European Union and also implanted by the International Constitution and Institute for Democracy International. Speaking at the event, the Executive Secretary of the ICPC, Clifford Okparawu, lamented that despite the Supreme Court affirming full local government autonomy, there is still no uniform system to verify whether councils actually receive what went to them rather than the fault being released to state governors through the Federation account. They are also channeled through the State Joint Account Committee, and many local governments do not know their exact allocation and only accept what is handed to them by the states. This system makes it planning impossible and undermines accountability. He added that while the ICPC cannot enforce court judgment, the Commission is concerned that non-compliance with such ruling weakens development and transparency at the grassroots. This very revelation has once again sparked the concern and debate about local government autonomy and the rule of law, with the understanding that as a democratic government, the rule of law is sacrosanct and must be obeyed, and also a need for us to talk about it on the show today. And we're talking about local government autonomy and the rule of law. That's what we're having as a major discourse today on the show. We're looking at local government autonomy and the rule of law, especially judging from that very comment coming from the ICPC indicating that most of the monies that normally would have been released from the federation account directly to the local government account seem not to be so, that many state governors are still holding the local government funds. Well, anyway, to help us really look at this, we have no other person but a constitutional lawyer, and he'll be joining us all the way from Asaba, and we're talking of no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Erire. Barrister Emmanuel Erire is joining us virtually. Good morning and welcome to the show, sir. Hello, Barrister Emmanuel. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Michael.
Okay. Well, nice to have you on the show. Now, this is more like a confirmation of what many had earlier suspected. And it's like almost all the states seem to also do this. And we do know that the 774 local government area still do not get their allocation directly, even after the ruling of the Supreme Court in 2024. Now, I'm really concerned. I know you've been direct as it concerns local government autonomy and all that seemed to have transpired even before the Supreme Court ruling. But I want your reaction as it concerns this revelation coming from the ICPC that up to now, those local governments still do not have their monies being sent directly to them.
Well, thank you, my brother. I think the revelation coming from ICPC is not a surprise to me, because I know that right from when the Supreme Court handed out that judgment, and Nigerians were expecting that 3 months after this, as directed by the Supreme Court, to be paid on the account to the local government account. I knew there was a foul play. And two, whose responsibility it is to ensure that this loan granted to local government is that of the assembly. And I've said it time without number until the national has to their responsibility as a legislator and not as an errand boy who will still remain where. That is the problem. So I think it is expedient. Hello?
Hello, Barrister Emmanuel Erire. Okay, yeah, you can hear me. I was telling you to go ahead, but before you do so, I also want to ask you.
Okay.
The ICPC said they cannot enforce that very Supreme Court ruling, which we do know that that is beyond their constitutional mandate. Now, I want to know who should be held responsible, who should be put, or who should the blame go for not releasing the money directly. Is it the Revenue Mobilization Account and Fiscal Commission, or who should take the blame for rather releasing the money to the state rather than the local government council's account? Who should take the blame for it? Hello? Okay.
Yes,
Barrister, yeah.
you can hear me.
Go ahead. Yes. Okay, I'm saying who should take the blame?
Hello?
Yes. What I mean, Barrister Emmanuel, who should take the blame for this, for not releasing the money directly to the local government account? Is it the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, or who should naturally take the blame? Should it be the CBN?
No.
Okay, it looks as if we're having issues with the connection, and I'll just implore you to still remain with us because we're looking at that very revelation coming from the ICPC just during the weekend that most of the monies that naturally should have been released directly to the 774 local government council account is not being so. And indeed, that revelation seems to have caught many by surprise, especially after the Supreme Court ruling in 2024 affirming that all the local government, the 774, they should be credited directly from the Federation account rather than it going to the states. Like I said, I still have no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Riri joining us still with the discourse. Let's see if we can bring him back and he help us through in understanding some of the basic issues that seems to be. And well, anyways, what we'll do now is go on a quick break and we'll try and see how we can reconnect back to him for him to give us a total insight on what seems to be, especially concerns that very fund. Let's go on a break.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
the allocation directly from the federal allocation directly to the state, rather than having it being sent, or rather to the local government rather than having it being sent to the state. Like we said, a pure revelation coming from the ICPC just during the weekend, that it looks as if the 774 local government councils seem not to be getting their funds directly, but rather still going through states rather than going with the ruling of the Supreme Court that mandated it to go directly to the local government account. Anyway, we still have Barrister Emmanuel Iriri with us right here, and let's quickly go back to it. Now, Barrister, before I went on the break, I was asking a very important question. Who should be held accountable, or who should take the fall or blame for this? Is it the CBN for not releasing the money directly to the local government account, or do you feel the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission seem not to be doing what they need to do constitutionally to ensure that the money is being directed directly to the local government council? Who should take the fall for this?
Well, I think, in my own opinion, what is playing out is a game by the federal government. A situation whereby the federal government has given you something with one hand and taking it with the other hand. That is what is playing out. Because these were the same persons who approached the Supreme Court on behalf of the local government, that local government autonomy should be granted to local government as a third arm of government, ranking on equal heights with the states and the federal government. And on the premise of such submission for adjudication, the Supreme Court grant all their reliefs and ensure that 3 months thereafter, they should ensure the implementation of the payment of all monies meant for local government directly from the federation account into the local government account. So what that presupposes is that the Revenue and Mobilization Fiscal Committee ought to carry out this responsibility in line with the CBN to ensure that the 774 local governments having submitted their accounts to the federation, they ought to pay their money directly into the accounts. So if that is not happening since the day the judgment was given till date, and the local government concerned, who are supposed to be the recipients of these monies, have kept silent, then it is ridiculous that ICPC as an agency will not be the one to come out to tell Nigerians that maybe perhaps they were supposed to be monitoring the disbursement of those funds and utilization of same by the local government. That is why they were aware, or they became aware, that monies ought to have been paid to the local government are yet to be credited to the account for the government. So I think the ROMFC and the CBN are to be held directly, liable for the non disbursement of this account to the local government. So I think it's a very serious matter.
Well, anyways, I'm happy you said we now have two major institutions that should be held accountable. But you also raised something. You said the government is giving with one hand and withholding with the other. So let's look at do you feel there's a political undertone around all of this? Because the reason I asked, I could still remember in March of this year, we saw governors going to President Tinubu to lobby for those money to be sent directly to the local government account. So do you see a political undertone around all of this?
In fact, you will always perceive political undertone, because if you ask yourself, why are most of the donors defecting the ruling party all of a sudden, despite this issue of local government autonomy granted to local government? It clearly shows that there are serious bargain going on between the presidency and the state governors. Because don't forget that the state governors have been the ones, the custodians of this money. When they receive it from federal government, they disburse it to local government. Now that the narrative is to change, maybe perhaps they now say that they'll be on the losing end, hence their visit to the presidency. But I think if the president is actually firm and sincere in his approach to the Supreme Court on behalf of the local government, notwithstanding any amount of pressure or influence, would change his position for the local government not to receive these funds. But be that as it may, for what is playing out, it clearly shows that there is pressure on the presidency or there is a bargain ahead of 2027 because all this I'm saying is a play out to what is going to happen in 2027. So they should not use Nigerians as a game of shares to achieve their selfish interests because Nigerians are not interested who comes to power, whatever interest they have. Nigerians are interested in getting the dividends of democracy, and the people that they can get that dividends most from local government who are closer to the grassroots. You understand? And when these funds are disbursed directly from account to the local government, the citizens and the grassroots will be the major beneficiaries of these funds. So if the governors are still trying to see that under Section 162 of the 1999 Constitution, whereby this issue of joint accounts with the state and local government is still operative, and they think that by dislodging them without pronouncement by the Supreme Court, will no longer entitle them to those monies. And I think the presidency ought to wake up to its responsibility and reality. As allegiance is to Nigeria and not to the government of the various states of Nigeria. Because whether we like it or not, serious politics is playing out, and those politics should not be played to the detriment of innocent Nigerian citizens who are beneficiaries of this fund. These are taxpayers' money, for God's sake. They are not personal funds that should be diverted or kept for the interest of private individuals.
Yeah, you raised something about the governors wanting to hold the fund. Let's understand why they are still insisting to be the ones disbursing the funds directly to the local government. Is it a thing of power? Do they feel that if they withhold the funds, they will in every way see how they can control the local government to do their bidding? Let's understand. So is it all about power that is playing out here? That's why they always want to hold on to the funds of local government councils.
If we are Bible students, I will still remember when the Israelites wanted to leave Egypt, Pharaoh was so reluctant to allow them to go to the promised land. Now the governors have held the local government to ransom for all these years and have been benefiting from all that is to them. So allowing them to go easily or to be able to handle their funds directly will not be comfortable to them. And even ironically, local government chairmen or the local government as an arm who have been given autonomy, they don't even realize that autonomy has been granted to them in real practical terms, because they still rely on that crumbs that they come from the table from the governors, because the governors are the ones who also put them into power. They are the ones who say you go back or you don't go back. So they have not outlived that shield that to realize that we're not on our own. So the governors cannot dictate to us. We are also governors in our own various local government. They have not come to that realization. So the governors too, they are still holding firm to that old narrative that them and beg and give them peanuts from which they would utilize funds to the grassroots members of the local government. So that is why I said the presidency, who have taken this bold step, if at all they were sincere in their approach to see that local government actually get this autonomy beyond mere pronouncement by the judgment of the Supreme Court, the machineries, the bodies that or mechanism that ought to implement these funds, which is the CBN and Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, they ought to wake up to their responsibilities, not waiting for a directive from presidency before they act, because there is already a foundation, a law for them to operate. So if National Assembly on its own part have decided not to amend the provisions of the Constitution with respect to dismemberment of the funds to them by amending Section 162.
Hello? Okay, look as if we have little hitches there as it concerns the network, but we'll bring him back to it. Yeah, in case you're joining us, we're talking about the recent revelation coming from the ICPC indicating that monies are still now being withheld by state governors and are not released directly to the local government accounts, undermining a Supreme Court ruling in July of 2024 that gave that directive that money should be released directly to the local government account. Well, that's what we're having as a major discourse today on Dialogue. We're looking at all the indices and trying to make sense out of it, especially knowing that the local governments are direct to the people as it concerns development. And if the local government councils are really being developed, then we have little or nothing to worry as it concerns development in every sane society. And that's what we're still having as a major discourse today on the show. And we still do have no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Riri. He's a constitutional lawyer joining us all the way from Asaba. But it looks as if we're still having issues as it concerns the network. When we do have him back, okay, yeah, it looks as if we have him back. Well, now, Barrister Emmanuel Riri, another major one I want to ask you. We do understand that about 529.954 billion was allocated to the local government council for the month of October, which we have able to get our hands on. Those are very details. Now, do you see the present development? I know you are in Ughelli and Asaba. Do you see the present development in these councils not going to the amount being naturally allocated to them? Do you feel these governors are indeed in every way hampering direct development of the local government councils by withholding most of these monies? Let's understand. Is it really affecting development in our local government councils?
Well, if we take Delta State, for example, as a case study, we can say that throughout the length and breadth of the 25 local government areas in Delta State, particularly Ughelli where I reside, see that there is no visible projects going on that the people can actually have or impact of the presence of local government in their locality. So that is to tell you that these funds, if they are directly leased or disbursed to the local government chairman, we will see mainly direct projects that are being put in place for the benefit of the citizens of the local government, and which actually was the idea behind the grant of local government autonomy as envisaged by government, which we are yet to see the impact. So that's why I said that it is a situation whereby you give something with one hand and you are taking it with the other hand. So there was no need for those pronouncements or even those exercises by going to the court to allow the court make a pronouncement. At the end of that pronouncement is not being implemented to the latter, particularly the agencies that are supposed to be responsible for the disbursement of this fund. So Nigeria played with, their feelings are being toyed with, and it is not good at this particular period, particularly when general elections have been approaching. So the state governors should ensure that it's high time they allow the local government to take a breath of fresh air, and the federal government, who have assured the local government having their autonomy, should ensure full implementation of the disbursement of these funds directly to them. And when these funds are released to them, put in agencies that will monitor the utilization of these funds. And where such funds are not properly utilized, you also know the consequences that will follow for non-utilization of these funds meant for the citizens of the local government. So I think the federal government have to wake up to the responsibility. The state governors have to wake up to the realization that they are no longer in control of the local government, because they are all ranking on the same level as each tier of government as provided for in the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended 1999. So this wake-up call that has been given by the federal government to local government, as we say in Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution, that's democratically elected government, they should be able to see the local government not just an appendage of the state governors or an appendage of the state government, but as an arm of government, independent and operating separately from the state and the federal government. That is where we can achieve the autonomy that has been granted to local governments. Thank you.
Talked about them not seem to know their very right, and I want us now to stick on that, because I could still remember in May of this year, the Social Economic Right and Accountability Project, SERAP, sued the CBN for failing to give details of any amount that they've transferred directly to the 774 local government councils. Now, how can the local government councils sue, or who would they need to sue on account of these abnormalities? Is it the Attorney General of the Federation? Should they sue the governors directly? Or how can they get or have this narrative being changed for them to indeed hold sway to the finance that is naturally being allocated to them? What steps should they take? Hello? Okay, let's see how we can bring him back because, yeah, the network is indeed giving us some certain issues. But irrespective of that, we're talking about local government autonomy and what seems to be playing out, especially as it concerns the funds that are not being released directly to them. Undermining the Supreme Court had given that very directive almost more than a year ago, July 2024 to be precise, especially after the federal government instituted a case against the state governors for lack of direct release of funds to the local government. But the question still remains, it is the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission that has the direct mandate for the release of these funds. What will hold them back from releasing it directly to the local government councils rather than releasing it via the state account is also a major question that beats many Nigerians, and many Nigerians are indeed seeking for answers. But those answers is what we're trying to also get as it concerns that, especially the revelation coming from the ICPC just during the weekend, that more needs to be done, especially as it concerns accountability and also the rule of law. But anyway, that's what we're still looking at today, and we still have no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Riri with us, joining us virtually all the way from Asaba. And let's see if we can bring him back to it and see if we can have him. Okay, what we'll do now is we'll quickly go on a break, and when we come back, we'll try to wrap things up on today's edition of Dialogue, talking about autonomy of the local government and the constitution as it concerns them getting their finance directly.
Every year, millions of lives are stolen, dreams cut short, futures traded in silence. Human trafficking is a modern-day slavery. It hides in plain sight, tearing families apart and trapping the vulnerable in fear. But together we can end it. Together we can protect, we can rescue, and we can give hope. Say no to exploitation. Say no to slavery. Say no to human trafficking. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined, uniquely different.
I am SP Dafe Bright, and this is Delta State Police Command. Today we'll be treating and addressing an issue that's different from what we've been doing before, not parading suspect this time, but bringing to you a very important information. Do we know that over 85% of Nigerians do password their phones, whether it's Android phones or iPhones? There's always a password. But how come when we lose our phones, by the time we go to retrieve our lines, we go to our bank to check our bank statement, we discover that these people who collected these phones must have siphoned the phones. Now, there are times the people who steal these phones, it is not your phone that they actually need. What they need is your SIM card. Now, how does the SIM card become useful to them? Not just any SIM card, but a SIM card that is linked to your bank account, the one that you usually use to receive SMS alerts. That is what they need. Now, by the time they collect your phone, steal your phone, rob you of your phone, what they do is that they remove this SIM card from your phone and insert it on another phone. So your phone does not really need to power on. They don't even need you to give them your phone password. They don't even need your ATM password. The moment they have access to your SIM card, they can do anything they want to do with your bank account, because all they need is to generate an OTP, and the message, the OTP that is called one-time password, will be sent to that your SIM card, and with that they can do anything they want to do with your account. That is why people lose millions of their life savings simply because they lost their phone. By the side of this video, we'll be doing an illustration. You will see an illustration that talks on how you can password your SIM card. Now, the topic that we are here to discuss, passwording of SIM card. When you get a phone, pick that your phone now. See how you can password your SIM card. If you password your SIM card, by the time for any reason, your phone gets to the wrong hand, even if they remove your SIM card and insert on another phone, the first thing that you will get is a prompt that you should enter your SIM PIN. The moment they cannot get the SIM PIN, they cannot use your SIM card for anything. After the trial of 3, the POC prompt will come because the SIM card will be blocked, and you can only unblock that SIM card when you have the POC number. Some of us don't have our SIM pack, because on the SIM pack it is written there the SIM PIN and the POC number. But because some of us don't have our SIM pack, I would advise you to quickly locate the nearest office of your service provider, be it Airtel, Globalcom or MTN. Approach them and request for your POC number. Once you've gotten your POC number, you follow these instructions and ensure that you password your SIM PIN. Your SIM PIN is very, very important. On my phone, for instance, once you turn off the phone and you turn it back on, you must enter your SIM PIN. If you cannot enter your SIM PIN, the SIM card will be useless. And I'm telling you, once they cannot have access to your SIM card, your money will be safely in the bank. They cannot have access to. There was a time I lost my phone, and it took me about 2 weeks to go to MTN office to retrieve my SIM card. Why did I wait 2 weeks? Because I knew I had a SIM PIN. I knew they would not have access to my bank account. I knew they cannot even use my SIM card for anything. Some of these people, when they steal phone, we'll be hoping that, we'll track the phone. Some of them don't even sell the phone. They will just condemn the phone and just get the SIM card to see if they can have your money. Please, they say a word is enough for the wise. It is very, very important. Don't see this video and just pass it by. Watch this video to the end. We're almost approaching the end of the video. Ensure that you take the lesson. Please password your SIM card. They say a stitch in time save 9. It's very, very important. Make haste when the sun shines. Not be to call. You don't have to start running and start saying, what do I do? What do I do? When you can prevent it. Let's not forget, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Thank you.
Atlantic TV, culturally inclined and uniquely different.
How many dreamers are in the house? Okay, all of them are raised hand. Well done.
My name is Shalewa, a student from Eagle Mart International School, and I wish to become a software engineer and a data analyst to work with softwares like Google, Chrome, Safari, create my own website, create my own app, which people can use to change the world in both the medical profession, in both digital, and every aspect and area of the world.
Please, can we give Shalewa a round of applause? I'm committed to making sure that journey happens. We'll definitely be partnering with her. Well done. I love it. I love it when a girl comes out and says, I'm going to innovate. I'm going to build tech solutions for my future. And not just, did you see how she said for Google, for Chrome? That means that she not there think of for you. Now the world where she want, and my darling Shalewa, you will fulfill your destiny in the name of Jesus. Okay.
My name is Ronald Ombologbo from Rute International School. I want to become a doctor in the nearest future and a pharmacy, and also has my own hospital to be treating people and make them feel well. And
please, can you give him a round of applause? Just make sure, say when you become that doctor, now where you go do first. Maybe not Jackpot go, because there are plenty doctors that are Jackpot. You will build your hospital here in Warri, so that the people of the world can come to Warrior and receive excellent medical treatment from your services. Well done. Please give him a round of applause again.
Good day, everyone. My name is King David Obende. I'm a student of First Baptist Secondary School. And my future, what I would like to become is a petroleum engineer. Not just like that. I plan to merge tech, software engineering in a way that I'm able to meet the demands of the new petroleum society. Because I've been experienced in the petroleum industry. For the past 20 years, there's been a major decrease in mostly efficiency. And also, I would like to see in a way that I can.
I want him to speak your dreams. Speak it, talk it from inside of you.
Merge.
Please give him a round of applause. You see, the worry child is not dull. We are not dull. We are brilliant. Say, I am brilliant. My dreams are valid. Your dreams are valid. Please, can you give him a round of applause? He wants to merge tech with petroleum to bring tech solutions to the petroleum industry. How old are you, sir? 15 years old.
Good day, everyone. My name is Amezi Shibuke Emmanuel. I would like to be the president of Nigeria.
Come on! Come on! How many of you will vote for him? Well done, well done. Please give him a round of applause. Well done. Thank you so much. And okay. I said the lady.
Good day, everyone. My name is Onehimuna Divine from Delta Secondary School. One of my dreams is becoming a large-scale farmer, and I would love to open a very big farm in between Delta State and Edo State. Thank you.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
All right, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst, author one of Nigerian comedy.
All right, guys, back again. Yes, boss. My name is Osh, baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up, people? It's your boy Victor 80.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife Niger celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV. Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere, I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV. We wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
we're sorry for that break, but we're now back with it. And we're still looking at the issue of local government autonomy, especially as it concerns funds being sent directly to them rather than being sent to the government, or rather the state governors on account of the monies. But then we still have no other person but Barrister Emmanuel Riri as we try to really wrap things up on the show today. Now, Barrister Emmanuel Riri, hello, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay, now let's go straight to finding how we can change the narrative. And the question I want to ask, what should the local government now do on account of this revelation coming from the ICPC to get their funds directly to them, knowing that the Constitution mandates it and also the Supreme Court has given them that clear directive, especially after that judgment of July 2024? What should they now do?
Well, I think what the local governments, I think they have different bodies, Algon and Norgay, which are pressure groups under the local government. I was expecting that before ICPC raised this issue, they should have been the ones as the major beneficiaries to cry out to Nigerians or even approach the courts for the enforcement of this judgment to say that the funds that are meant to them are actually disbursed to them as pronounced by the Supreme Court. But the reason for their reluctance is what I cannot fashion out. And it's so unfortunate that we allow groups like SERAP and other NGOs to come and claim or make demands for what is beneficial to you and not to them. It's actually ridiculous. So that's why I'm saying that it's either they are yet to understand that the local government autonomy given to them is actually a realistic fact, or it's just a fiction. So either of these, they should be able to, they are the ones to actually come out and tell Nigerians that yes, what actually the Supreme Court have said is yet to be implemented. The funds meant for their benefit are yet to be disbursed by the federal government, or the state governments are still collecting those funds, as opposed to the old narrative that, as opposed to the new narrative that they are supposed to be the major beneficiary of this fund. So I think the local government has lots to do with respect to this. The association, the Algon and Norgay, ought to step up to the reality that they should actually meet up their demands from the federal government in line with other groups that will not queue behind them. And when the federal government now sees the pressure on them, they will have no other option, whether they are waiting for any legal framework to actually disburse these funds, having told them to furnish their accounts to the CBN after the pronouncement of this judgment. So one is expecting that from January this year to date, they would have received the money due to them, and development should have gone beyond the state it is that we are witnessing in various parts of the local governments in Nigeria.
I really want to really understand what you mean. Are you saying they should address the court again, or do you feel maybe a strike action will now compel the federal government to do the needful? So let's understand, are they going to still go back to the court to ensure that the enforcement of that Supreme Court ruling, or should they now take a different action? And what I mean, should they now go on strike to ensure that the federal government does the needful?
Well, it's of two ways. They can go on strike and also go, because now the judgment of the courts that have been given is yet to be implemented or enforced. In other words, there's disobedience to that judgment. So it's contempt itself against the courts. So they can initiate contempt proceedings against the federal for not disbursing those funds meant for them. So that's why I said that they can approach the court for a committal proceeding to be initiated against the federal government, which you and I know that it will be a difficult task. The second option is to embark on this action, because now, thank God, we're in a global village. Now, everyone around the globe will now understand that the federal government has taken a bold step to give the local government an autonomy. I've given them something with one hand and taking it with the other hand. Then I think with the cries of the local governments and other NGOs on this issue of local government autonomy and the need for them to be giving their funds directly, I think will now be a realization that the federal government will know that they have an obligation to perform. In the absence of this, we will still remain the way it is, and other bodies who are not connected or beneficiaries of this local government funds will not be the ones taking the bull by the horn. It's not. It ought not to be. You as a major benefactor of a particular largesse, we are supposed to be the one to be at the forefront and not be behind you to say that yes, what is due to you is actually given to you. So it's of two ways. They can approach the court for a committal proceeding against the federal government, and they can also embark on the strike action to channel their grievances. So whichever one they prefer, they will get their results in due course.
Question before I let you go. Now, you talked about the federal government giving with one hand and taking with the other. But many will say if the ICPC came out to give us that revelation, maybe the federal government is now thinking towards the line of readdressing this abnormally. So my direct question now to you, do you see this administration that took these governors to court earlier to get that very Supreme Court judgment, do you see them now having the political will, now that it is now in the open, that these monies are not going directly? Do they have the political will to change the narrative? Do you see the narrative being changed anytime soon on account of the federal government putting their feet down?
Well, I think the federal government has to, in all of it, sincerity of purpose is what matters. So the governors cannot dictate to the federal government on this issue of local government autonomy. They have moved beyond that stage. They have moved beyond that stage. So, and the governors should realize that it's no longer business as usual. So it is up to the federal government and its agencies to do the needful. And doing the needful is to say that the judgment of the Supreme Court should be obeyed to the latter and nothing more. Should be obeyed to the latter, implemented, release this fund. The funds are meant for the local government and nobody else, not the governors of the states. So the governors, they also have their own allocation for the federal government. But that is due to the state should be given to the state directly from the federation account. So all the agencies that are responsible for that disbursement should be given a directive to implement and carry out the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. And I think that is the way to go in every nascent democracy where rule of law prevails. If actually the president is an advocate of rule of law that he preaches, we should see it
That's why
in
I
its
asked you
implementation.
that very question. Do you see this government having the political will to do what you said now? Do they have the political will? Do you see them doing it?
Well, that is the problem I'm having, because the rule of law and due process, I don't think it's the same person I'm seeing as the president of the country, or is telling Nigeria that he was not serious with all these promises that he made to Nigerians. And if he's telling us that he's not serious, that means to say that he's not somebody to be relied upon. But I believe that if he actually is true to his words, he needs not take any permission from anyone to do the needful, because he has started the process. He has given the local government a breath of fresh air. So what is he waiting for? What is he waiting for? So he should have the political will to do the needful. He has a knife, he has everything at his beck and call. So he need not take any further directive on this matter. Delaying it simply means that he's not sincere in whatever cause he's actually fighting for on behalf of the local government. And it's very, very unfortunate if that is the position.
On that very note, we've come to the end of this very discussion. We really need to thank you so much, Barrister Emmanuel Liriri, the constitutional lawyer, and also one that truly holds the local government autonomy dear to his heart. I would really appreciate you for joining us all through this while. I will always say we are with deep appreciation for what you've done. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother, and thank you, fellow doctor.
Well, anyway, it's more like a wrap for us on the show today, but you do know, like I will always insist, the conversation still continues, and it continues on our different social media platforms. Let's have your views, comments, and contribution as it concerns this constitutional issue we've just talked about. We talked about the local government autonomy and why, with the revelation coming from the ICPC, that governors still tend to hold the funds that normally would have directly gone to the 774 local government councils in the country. That these governors, the money still go through them, and rather than being going directly there. But undermining the Supreme Court has given its own ruling on account of these in July of 2024. Why are we still in the same narrative? Let's get your views, comment, and contribution on what needs to be done to ensure that these monies or funds are directly released to the local government and indeed meet the people that they need to meet, knowing that the local government is even far closer to the grassroots than any other tiers of government, and they need to ensure that more needs to come there. But anyway, that's what we'll do, and we've come to the end of this lovely edition. And I will tell you that don't go anywhere, because Atlantic TV, we are really proud to make you feel the impact of enjoying your day all through with us. We need to go on that break now, but remember the news will come around the hour, and trending will definitely follow after that. Bye for now.
Behind closed doors, too many suffer in silence. Too many lives are scarred by violence in the very place that should bring peace, the home. Domestic violence is not love. It is pain. It breaks trust, destroys lives and families, and steals futures. Domestic violence is not a private matter. It's a violation of dignity, and it must end. Because hitting a woman does not make you a man, but correcting her in love and staying in peace with her is God's plan. Together, we can raise our voices, protect the vulnerable, and rebuild lives. Say no to silence. Say no to fear. Say no to domestic violence. Powered by Atlantic Media and TV.
The future of the Warri child is bold, bright, and limitless. Gone are those days where being from Warri means that you are underestimated or being put in a box. Today, the Warri child is breaking boundaries in education, innovation, and all things that they set their minds to. We are gathered right here live at the Brown Hill Coliseum in Warri, Delta State for the future of the Warri child, a one-day seminar put together for secondary school students in Warri, Delta State, and its aim is to reshape and of course to remind those children that their dreams are valid and they can be anything that they want to be. We will be reshaping destinies and of course putting in the minds of these children that yes, greatness lies within them. The theme for this year is a very powerful one, Beyond Limits, Unlocking the Potential of the Warri child. Now, this is not just another seminar, this is a movement, one that brings to the knowledge that every child has greatness inside of them. My name is NK and I'll be holding it down right here on the red carpet for Atlantic Media and TV, where we'll be having our special guests and of course we'll be having conversations with our speakers, distinguished guests, and of course our students who are here and ready to learn, to get inspired, and of course to go home with so much enlightenment. Join me on the red carpet as I interview great men and women who will be coming here today to experience this great history in the making.
The future of the Warri child is in your mouth. And as long as they can't steal your voice, they cannot steal your future. God bless you all. God bless Ogiame Atuashe III. God bless the children of this great land. God bless Nigeria.
Child can do anything possible because we believe first God made them, and if God made them, God actually made them without limit. So we are trying to sell that dream back to them, no matter what they've been taught, no matter what they've been told, that the Warri child is going beyond limit.
To unlock children's potential, it starts with you as a parent.
what we are here to do is to also put them in the direction of, as you are working, also get yourself checked.
Going beyond the limits, beyond unlocking your potential, knowing your place, owning your story, finding the obstacles, identifying them, leaning into the lessons that life throws at you. So generally speaking, it's all about honing yourself and looking around you to solve problems. When you are a problem solver, you will always have value.
I'm a product of worry, so today I am that future standing here, and for that reason I have no doubt the people that will come after us will do greater things.
I feel so amazed by everything that has been going on today. I am truly touched and I'm truly enlightened today.
I feel very nervous coming here, but meeting new people and seeing that, there are lots of opportunities. Thank you much for the opportunity that have given to us, the future of the worried child.
Future of the worried child is me. Thanks to the Care Foundation.
Before I even introduce myself, my mom is over there, Mrs. Patience Ogodo, principal of Atuashe the Second College. Thank you. I did that because growing up as a child, people called me autistic just because I had low self-esteem issues. A lot of people thought I had autism. What they didn't know is that I'm more of an observer. I take my time to observe my environment before I act. I'm going to be sharing my story, but I want my story to not only inspire the children here, but parents and teachers. When I got to JSS 1, I was asked to repeat class. I don't know why, but my mom saw something different. My mom saw value that people could not see. Told me that you can repeat the class, but we have to change your school. She changed my school, she changed my environment, and in less than 1 month, I picked up very fast. I became the best student in my class, from last to first. Every time she comes back from work, she say, Otes, come and help me. Come and help me to write the list of students in my class. That girl that people thought was autistic started writing like a robot. In less than 1 hour, I'm done. Growing up, I could not spell my name until I clocked 11 years. The environment affected me so much that even my dad was very, very strict. You dare not speak pidgin English in the house. You dare not wait. There were a lot of strict rules and regulations in the house that made me so reserved that I could not express myself. But every time my mom will look at me, she will say, don't worry, calm down, you are getting there. And today I'm more than excited to be here thanks to Care Foundation. Thank you. This is the first time I'm going to be standing in the midst of so many crowds. I always share my story, but I never show my face. But today I'm showing my face for the first time to share my story. Because of time, I'm not going to be doing all those dictionary meaning of what is beyond limit and all of that. I'll just tell you one simple thing. Have you ever seen where plants grows on concrete? You'll be wondering, this is not loamy soil, this is not sandy soil, this is not clay soil. Why should plants grow on rock? That should remind you that there is no limit to what you can achieve in life. So after I went to the university, I started doing a lot of weird things, like every time people hear my name, Ogenetedri, they don't pronounce it correctly. I started questioning my mom, like, why do people give me this kind of long name, Ogenetedri? Can't they just call me TJ, Otes, or Tej? I didn't like the name for any reason. And because of my lifestyle, the way I was dressing in school, infusing broom, raffia, and so many things in my clothes, they nicknamed me Uwobo Masquerade. I hated that name so much. So much that I didn't know that God was preparing me for something ahead. I graduated. I could not get a job. As a matter of fact, I studied medical biochemistry in school. After my NYC, I wanted to do something different. I moved to Lagos. I didn't want to be that typical housewife that would just wake up in the morning, breakfast is ready, tie wrapper on your chest. I wanted something different because I knew there was something in me that I have not discovered. I picked up my old sewing machine and I started gathering leftover scrap in different tailors in my community. Every time I come that I want to gather this scrap, they'll be like, this thing is dirty now. What do you want to use it to do? It's dirty. I knew what I wanted to use it to do. I had old shoes, old bags, with those scraps that people saw as rags. I will use it to recycle my old bags and my old shoes, wear it to church. And people will be like, did you make this thing from scratch? In my mind, I didn't make it from scratch, but I was looking for customers. I won't tell you my selling points. I won't tell you what's going on. 8 months later, a lady from Cameroon came. She came knocking and she was like, I saw this bag that you wore in church. I want this bag, but I want it in bulk. What am I trying to say? I waited 8 good months. Nobody showed interest in what I was doing. They were just liking it, admiring it from afar. But after 8 months, a lady from Cameroon, she walked in and she ordered over 1,000 pieces of what we were doing. Unknown to her, it was a revamped bag. But through that process, I went to YouTube. I don't know how to make bag. I only know how to use gum to gum fabrics on bag. I went to YouTube and I learned the bag from scratch. I made those 1,000 bags and I delivered it and she was impressed. I decided to bring my business to social media and I waited another 8 months before I made my first sale. I'm talking about latex creation right now. And after 8 months, I love the fact that someone said our mouth is very, very powerful. I told myself that the first customer that we get will determine how I'm going to run this business. I got the first customer all the way from Atlanta. Bulk orders. And that bulk orders opened doors for me. I got interview, shout out Atlanta, Fabric and Garment South Africa, and just like that, we became global. What they didn't know is I was just trying to find my spark. I applied for so many grant competition. If I'm correct, I applied for 53. Out of that 53, I lost 50. I got only 3. Out of the 3, I think the first one was 500,000, the second one was 300,000, but I want something bigger. I knew there was something. The other 50 I lost, they kept telling me, you are doing too much. How can only one person be revamping, be doing this? Focus on one thing. And the thing with being a creative is sometimes you see yourself doing so many things that you find it difficult to focus on that one thing. Last year, a friend reached out to me and told me to apply for a program called Orange Corners. Now this program, I already made up my mind that I don't want to have business with grants. I just want to focus on my business. Whether you like it, whether I'm doing too much, I don't care. So after so many back and forth, I applied for the program and I got selected out of 1,053 persons that applied for the program. From top 50 to top 30 to top 20. The top 20 got into the program and all of us were awarded 5.5 million naira. That was my first millions in grants. Along the line, I made a chessboard made from textile waste. I think you need to see that slide. Can you take it to the picture slide, please? I made a chessboard from textile waste, and we were asked to face the committee from Netherlands. And they said, we gave you 5.5 million naira. What are you going to use the money to do? I told them that my next step of unlocking my creative side is to collaborate with Tunde Onokoya. And they told me that it will take you months before you will be able to reach him. We are talking about a celebrity here. Guess what? It took me only 2 days to contact him. And we collaborated. We signed a long-term partnership whereby I get to train people in slum Africa. Along the line, the program is for 6 months. 6 months. in the midst of these 6 months, they taught us so many things about business, things I never knew for the past 8 years that I've been running my business. How to manage your finance, how to communicate, negotiation, inventory management, lots more. I never knew all these things, but in the course of the program, I opened my eyes to see a lot of things. Now remember, they told me I was doing a lot of things, but the program told me I was doing a lot of things in a different way. We had the demo pitch, and they were like, okay, let me give you a secret. When you are running a business, you need to run a business that will not affect your health. You know, as a creative, it's just like having so many ideas, so many boyfriends. Allow me to use that word. So many boyfriends, like you cannot even love one differently. You love all of them equally. It's time to love only one and focus on that one. I got confused because I didn't understand what they were saying. I did the demo pitch, I ignored them. I did the demo pitch, and they told me, sorry, you will not make it to the next stage. I cried. 6 months, I said, no, I will not agree. I've been here for 6 months, and you're telling me I will not make it to the next stage. A week to the deadline of the finale, I submitted a new business plan, a new
Good day and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I'm Michael Gabadia. Here are our top stories. The federal government will launch 2 new startup investment funds in 2026. Nation celebrate Papa Ayo Jafo at 53 years in ministry. PDP candidate congratulates Solodo, calls for inclusive government in Anambra. And ASU blames federal government for neglecting education sector. On the foreign scene, United States Supreme Court upholds same-sex marriage, declines to reopen landmark case. And in sports, Morgan Rogers signed 6-year Aston Villa extension. Now to the news in full. The federal government says it will roll out 2 new investment funds under Investment in Digital and Creative Entrepreneur IDEX program by 2026 to accelerate innovation and job creation in Nigerian technology and creative sector. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who chairs the IDEX steering committee, confirmed the takeoff of investment through an anchor venture fund managed by Venture Platform, a Pan-African seed stage firm. The fund has already secured about $64 million from major investors including the International Finance Corporation, Standard Bank of South Africa, and British International Investment, with a final target of $75 million. Bank of Industry Managing Director, Dr. Olasupo Olusi, said the investment demonstrates government commitment to supporting high-growth, technology-enabled businesses that will transform Nigerians' economy. The IDEX initiative, valued to over $617 million, is backed by the African Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, and the French Development Agency. By 2026, 2 additional funds, the Creative Sector Fund and the Fund of Funds, will be launched to support smaller investors and boost entrepreneurs' growth across the digital and creative industries. The federal government says the goal is to turn Nigeria into Africa's innovation hub and give young entrepreneurs the tools to build sustainable business in the global economy. A statement from the Office of the Vice President spokesperson, Stanley Nwonkocha, said the funds will focus on startups nationwide as part of the Renewed Hope agenda to empower young Nigerians and expand access to finance. The National Youth Service Corps has begun the fiscal verification of credentials and travel documents for Nigerian graduates trained overseas ahead of the 2025 Batch C service year. According to a statement by the NYC management, the verification is taking place in major centers including Abuja, Lagos, Enugu, Port Harcourt, Kano, Osogbo, Bauchi, Sokoto, and Yola. The Corps directed all foreign trained prospective Corps members to appear on the dates and time indicated on the verification slip, bringing along original copies of all uploaded documents, including academic credentials, travel papers, and web applicable evaluation letters from the Federal Ministry of education. Medical graduates are also required to present valid licenses and registration certificates from their respective professional bodies. The NYSC explained that the move is part of effort to maintain integrity in the mobilization process and curb certificate fraud linked to uncredited institutions abroad. The agencies had earlier extended the online registration for the BATC mobilization by 48 hours due to network issues reported by some applicants. With the exercise now underway, the NYSC is reminding all foreign trained graduates that strict compliance with verification guideline remains a prerequisite for participation in the National Service Scheme. The nationwide service, which started today, Monday, November 10th, will run through Wednesday, November 12th, at designated centers across the country. The NYSC says only those whose documents are physically verified and cleared will be deployed, exempted or excluded from national service. The Christian community and dignitaries across Nigeria gathered in Warri Delta State to celebrate the 53rd year in ministry and birthday of Papa Ayo Orisha, fondly known as the Lion of Africa. The Thanksgiving and celebration service drew hosts of national leaders and church dignitaries. His Excellency, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, was among the prominent guests who attended the colorful event. Governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Sheriff Obodiwori, was ably represented by his deputy, Samonde Oyema, who confirmed, or rather conveyed, the government's goodwill message, describing Papa Orisha as a beacon of hope and a pillar of faith in Nigerian spiritual landscape. Also in attendance was Chief Mene Brown, representing the Olu of Warri, alongside respected ministers of gospel and community leaders from across the nation. The celebration featured moments of praise, tribute, and testimonies of Papa Ayo Orisha enduring legacy, a ministry that continues to inspire faith, unity, and purpose across generations. From all corners of the world, message poured in celebrating Papa Ayo Orisha, a man whose voice and vision has shaped life for over 5 decades. A man described as bold, elegant, and steadfast in faith, Papa Ayo Orisha was honored for his decades of impactful service, leadership, and dedication to spreading the gospel around the world. And on that note, we on Atlantic TV and Media wish to also send our birthday and warm wishes. Happy celebration, sir. The People's Democratic Party candidate in the just concluded Anambra governorship election, Jude Nwankwo, has pledged to work with Governor Chukwuma Soludo to promote unity and development in the state. He revealed that he was instrumental in encouraging Soludo to contest the election during his time as Senior Special Assistant to former Governor Winnie Obiano. He commended the Anambra State government for his proactive approach to security and advised Soludo to strengthen the system with better equipment and collaboration. The PDP candidate, however, warned that he would not hesitate to speak out if the governor failed to perform, urging him instead to embrace inclusivity for a more peaceful and prosperous Anambra. On allegations of vote buying, he dismissed the claim as extravagant, stating that several parties engaged in practice and insisting that he ran a clean campaign. He also denied being a placeholder, stressing that he invested over 80 million naira in his candidacy and narrowly escaped an assassination attempt before the polls. He also congratulated Governor Soludo on his victory and expressed optimism that an inclusive administration will further strengthen democracy and good governance in Anambra State. Speaking on a major news platform, he described his relationship with Governor Soludo as cordial, noted that he had supported the governor even before his emergence. The Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has applauded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for what it calls his exceptional neutrality during Saturday's Anambra governorship election. Oladoje praised the Independent National Electoral Commission for what he described as transparent and well-managed poll, noting that the exercise reflected a refreshing new dawn for democracy under the new INEC leadership. He also mocked the opposition coalition, describing it as a gathering of political wanderers and competing egoists. claiming the result exposed their lack of unity and also structure. The Lagos APC added that while the opposition searches for excuses, the ruling party remains focused on reforms and governance that directly impact Nigerians. The party says the Anambra election is a reminder that in its words, the era of emotional blackmail in politics is over. In a statement by its spokesperson, Seyi Oladejo, the party said the president's non-interference in the process proved his commitment to credible elections and the protection of Nigerians' democratic values. We need to go on a break now, but when we come, more news across Nigeria as well as business, sport, and foreign news.
Don't miss out on exciting news, events, and more. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The Academic Staff Union of Universities said the federal government indifference to education is the root cause of Nigeria's lingering crisis in the sector. In a virtual discussion titled The Conversation for the ASU President, Professor Pinwona, lamented that members of the Federal Executive Council often see the sector challenges as sole duty of the Ministry of Education. He said the situation has made it nearly impossible to achieve lasting reforms, adding that ideology difference and corruption has worsened the problem. Now, according to him, while ASU views education as a public good, many in government treat it as a profit-driven enterprise, often suggesting that tech funds should begin financing private universities. The ASU president said his mindset has derailed the purpose of public education and deepening decay across Nigerian universities. At the same event, historians and host Professor Toyin Falola revealed that the long history of industrial dispute between ASU and the federal government. Other panelists include Professor Francis Abokare and also Sheriff Dentella, as well as the NLC President Joe Ajero, highlighted weak accountability, poor funding, and decaying infrastructure as persistent threat to university education in Nigeria. ASU has maintained that without genuine political will and shared responsibility across ministries, the circle of strikes and policy failure will continue to haunt Nigeria's education sector. ASU President Professor Chris stated this during the Toyin Folalo interview on Sunday, accusing government officials of failing to treat education as a collective national responsibility. Away from that, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company has called on high-energy consuming firms across Nigeria to take advantage of its eligible customer program designed to allow industry to purchase electricity directly from its plants and other generation companies. In a statement released on Sunday, the NDPHC said over 2,000 megawatts of stranded power capacity are available for bulk users under the eligible customer framework. The company managing director, Jennifer Adikevde, described the scheme as a game changer for industrial growth, citing Phoenix Steel Mill as an example of how steady power drives efficiency and cost saving. She also noted that the power firm is deepening discussion on embedded and bilateral energy solution to bypass grid constraints and serve eligible customers directly. She emphasized that relying solely on Nigeria's centralized electricity market is no longer sustainable, given the sector's recurring revenue shortfall and liquidity issues. Under the plan, creditworthy firms who identify and offered power at cost reflective tariff through direct purchase arrangements approved by regulators. The NDPHC says the initiative marks a strategic shift towards industrial self-sufficiency and improved energy reliability, key pillars for reviewing Nigeria's manufacturing competitiveness. The initiative, first introduced in 2017 and updated in 2024, aims to provide large industrial and commercial customers with stable and affordable power while addressing the company's liquidity challenges and boosting industrial productivity. As the festive season approaches, import activities across Nigerian major ports have slowed dramatically, with industry operators reporting decline ranging from 40 to to 70%, and in some cases, as high as 80%. Speaking to reporters, a former NAGAF Secretary General, Emeka Okonkwo, said many importers have been forced to scale down operation as warehouses remain full and liquidity tight. He noted that unlike previous years, Christmas import tariff has failed to surge due to declining purchasing power. Another operator, Ogochukwu Nandi, said most shipping firms now bet just 1 or 2 vessels before year end, a major constraint to pass congestion at the ports. However, some industry players disagree. The president of the African Association of Freight Forwarders, Frank Ogunojemeta, insists import levels are stable, citing higher freight rates from China to Nigeria as proof of sustained activity. Meanwhile, fresh data from the National Bureau of Statistics confirmed a parallel decline in car imports, down nearly 10% in the first half of 2025 compared to the last year. Analysts blame forex scarcity, rising import tariff, and dwindling consumer spending. With global supply chains tightening and domestic demand weakening, operators warn the slowdown could extend into 2026, unless the government policy stabilizes the naira and restore importers' confidence. Maritime experts attribute the sharp drop to persistent foreign exchange volatility, inconsistent government trade policies, and weak consumers' demand. Former custom agent President Pius Ojubodun says the slowdown began months ago due to poor planning and fiscal uncertainty. Now to the foreign scene. In the United States, the Supreme Court has declined to hear a case challenging the constitutional right to same-sex marriage, a move hailed as a major win for the LGBTQ community. The conservative-dominated court, which currently holds a 6-3 majority, gave no explanation for rejecting the appeal. Davis, who was offered to pay damages to one of the couple who she denied a license, argued that her actions were protected by religious freedom. But the Human Rights Campaign praised the decision, saying love won again, and the public official must respect the constitutional right of all citizens. Observers say the move preserves one of the most significant civil rights rulings in the United States history, Obergefell versus Hodges, which stabilized same-sex marriage as a constitutional right in 2015. Monday's decision signals the court's unwillingness, at least for now, to revisit the historic ruling despite growing conservative pressure to do so. The case was filed by former Kentucky County Clerk King Davis, who previously refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples on religious grounds. David had asked the court to overturn his 2015 decision that legalized gay marriage nationwide. And on the sporting scene, Aston Villa striker and winger Morgan Rogers has pledged his long-term future to the club, signing a 6-year contract that will keep him at the Villa Park until June of 2031. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano confirmed the deal on social media, calling it a major show of faith by Villa's hierarchy. Rogers described the new deal as a great step in his career, saying he's delighted to continue his development under Una Umori. The Spanish manager hailed Rogers' commitment, describing him as the key part of Villa's existing project built around young, homegrown talent. The new deal also was of interest from several top English clubs who have been monitoring the winger's progress. Rogers will be hoping to build on his fine form as Villa continue their push for a top 4 Premier League finish and another strong run in Europe this season. The 22-year-old Englishman who joined Villa early this year has been rewarded with an improved salary after a string of impressive performances in the Premier League and also Europe. Real Madrid goalkeeper Coutinho has been ruled out of Belgium's international fixture after sustaining an injury to his adductor lumbar muscle in his leg. According to transfer expert Romano, Courtois' injury would sideline him for Belgium's upcoming game as a precaution. It's another frustration for the veteran goalkeeper who only recently returned from a long-term ACL injury and kept him out for most of the season. Real Madrid is expected to release a detailed update once medical assessments are completed. Though early indications suggest that the injury is not severe, the setback, however, leaves both Luz Blancos and Belgium monitoring the recovery closely ahead of a busy winter fixture list. The goalkeeper's latest absence could see him or see real turn once again to Andre Luni between the sticks as they push to maintain top spot in La Liga. The Spanish club confirmed the setback after the keeper featured in Sunday's goalless draw against Rama Zelicano. The 33-year-old will now undergo medical evaluation in Madrid during the international break. Now, that sporting news brings us to the end of the news today. We'll always insist if you have any newsworthy reports and you want to reach us, well, do reach us on our social media platform. I'll be happy to take them. I still remain Mike Egobadia. Bye for now.
When the lights go out, who do you call? Ticado! Ticado Energy Solutions Limited, your plug for electrical power, surveillance system, and entertainment. From expert electrical installation to efficient eco-friendly solar inverter systems, no matter the size, Ticado delivers smart energy solutions designed for today and tomorrow. We also help you secure your space with our cutting-edge security and surveillance system. Enjoy crystal clear entertainment with our professional DSTV and cable TV installation. Visit Ticado today at Block F4, Suite 41 and 42, HFP East Line Plaza, Abraham Adesanya, Aja, Lagos. Or call 0906 902 5025 or 0815 176 6817. Explore our services at ticado.com.ng. Ticado Energy Solutions Limited. Power, protection, peace.
The future of our Richard. Are you sure? You're all welcome. My name is Eseni Okorore Ifoma. I'm representing my area commander in person of Ishako Barbara. We are from NDLA Warri Area Command. I know some people will be surprised to see NDLA. So what is NDLA doing here? NDLA is not only an enforcement agency. We are a partners in national development. As in, we believe that drug-free youth, they are the foundation of a great nation. That is why we believe in doing campaign, as in sensitization campaign, in schools, in churches, markets, communities, in order to educate our youth the dangers of substance abuse. Now, the program, the title of this program says the future of Warri Child, why the team is beyond limit. Yes, for you to go beyond limit, you must refuse to be identified, as in refuse to identify by your background or your challenges. Okay? Believe in yourself that no matter where you came from, that greatness can come out from you. No one was destined to be great, as in special. Everyone is destined great by God. It depends on the way and how you do it. We are here to talk to us about the dangers of substance abuse, the drug abuse. For you to go beyond limits, you have to stay away from drugs abuse. Yes, because drug can limit you from being who you want to be. There is a clip, a video in this place. I want them to, please, can you put the video for us to watch it just for a few minutes? Then we can go on.
If anybody give you your banana, sky, if sugar daddy give you your cocaine, run, cool, Simbo. No be say, I know they hear when them say, make I stop. Hey, I know fit stop. I swear I want to stop. Somebody help me stop. If anybody give you banana, sky, hey, whether na school she Simbo, what you cool, Simbo.
Thank you. Do you understand the language? What is he trying to say? He said, if anybody is giving you, that you should say what? Good. We are here to talk about the effect of drug abuse, effect of substance abuse. But before we go on, I want to tell us what that substance, that drug is all about. According to UN definition, it said drug is any chemical substance which when taken into the body by whatever means, it will change the function, the behavior, or the mood of the user. That is drug. The word chemical substance. It's a chemical substance. It can be natural, it can be synthetic. That thing that when you take it into your body, your mood will change. The functions will start behaving somehow. It can be taken by, as in using water orally. You drink it, you can inject using syringe, you can rub it on your body, you can sniff. Even some people that abuse drugs nowadays, some they even inject it through their anus. So whatever means you take it, your mood, your behavior will change. It's a drug. So, what is drug abuse? What is drug abuse? Drug abuse is when its use is not medically necessary. When its use is not medically necessary, in the sense that, yeah, we sometimes will feel weak, we feel tired or headache. Some headache maybe you stay long, you do not eat. You normally do me. If I stay long, if I didn't eat well, before you know, I'll start having headache. Yeah. Some people may be tiredness, they start having headache. Those things, you may not need drug at that point. What you may need at rest, you that is hungry, you eat and rest. You get your body. But some people, when they feel that, because someone somewhere feel the same, and he went to the doctor or pharmacy, they prescribe a particular drug for the person. You will take it. You see that person taking it. Next time, if you feel the same way, you will go and buy. You don't know whether your body need that drug at that point. So whenever we feel anything, we have to go to the doctor, seek for medical assistance, medical attention. Don't just go walk into the pharmacy or to the chemist. Give me this so drug. When you are doing it, you are abusing drug. Another one is when it's legally prohibited. Government said we should not abuse this drug. Don't touch it. Don't deal with it. All these cocaine control drugs, tramadol, Refton, codeine, cocaine, heroin, Colorado, ice, all these things, government pound it. At that point, you know that it's not good. You are doing.
And you know, I can never be alone in the studio once it's trending o'clock. Yes, who is joining us today? Mr. Michael Gubadia. Mr. Michael, thank you for always joining me on Trending.
Well, anyway, let's see what is trending, and I know our viewers will really be interested in what's going on.
Yes, of course they will. What's trending today? We celebrate a legend, Papa Ayo Richard Jaffo, who marked another year of life yesterday. From founder of the Word of Life Bible Church to leading CAN and PFN, Papa Ayo has inspired millions with faith, courage, and service. His life reminds us, lead with purpose, impact others, and leave a legacy. From all of us here in Atlantic Studio, we are saying A happy belated birthday to Papa Ayo Orishe Jafo. May God continue to bless you with many more years of grace, joy, and abundance. Look at it. We saw dignitaries, including Obasanjo, there yesterday celebrating the birthday of a legend, Papa Ayo Orishe Jafo. This is such a beauty to behold. Look at the birthday cakes. Look at all of that. I really wish I was there yesterday. Mr. Michael, were you there?
There was every need to celebrate with him. I was not there, but my hearts were with him. And I do know, you know, when you've put such selfless service to humanity, and, you know, you have countless, thousands and thousands of spiritual children all under your guidance. You see nothing but pure celebration. And that's what I felt they did yesterday. It was just a way to say, Daddy, we truly appreciate you and we truly love what you've done. 53 years and counting, because we still know you have more to give to humanity. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, and he even said he's marking 27 years birthday yesterday.
Well, he looks so young.
Yeah, he looks very young. He even looks 18. I don't know. Happy belated birthday, Papa Ayo Orishe Jafo. We ask for long life and prosperity for you in Jesus' name. Yeah, away from that, this is a very heartbreaking and tragic story from Lekki, Lagos State. A resident named Endurance Udeke has reportedly died from jumping from a 4-story building during an EFCC raid at Periwinkle Estate. Reports say he and another resident tried to escape, but tragically Udeke didn't survive, while the other is receiving treatment. The EFCC insists there was no physical contact with Udeke before the jump and describes the act as unnecessary and suicidal. The police are now investigating, and this has raised serious questions about the safety of law enforcement raids and the tension in our communities. Yeah, I feel so far these people have just created fears in the hearts of these people, and then once they just see them, even when they're not guilty of anything, they just run, they just want to flee because of that fear of how all of these raids turn out to be. And this is really not nice, and netizens are not really finding this funny. I was able to gather some reactions online. Let's see some of the reactions we got on net. This is what you get when a government security agency has same modus operandi as armed robbers. Hardly would you differentiate between a government security agency in Nigeria and armed robbers during operations. Armed robbers jump fences to gain access into their victims' homes, same as EFCC. Armed robbers break the victim's home to gain access, same as EFCC. Armed robbers end up killing some victims during operations, same as EFCC. Nigeria is a perfect example of a banana republic. I don't know what this guy is talking about. Who is to blame, EFCC or the deceased? And Masterpiece is saying, say no to fraud and Yahoo. Well, we have more reactions. Let's see some of the reactions we got. We are saddened by this tragic incident and hope a thorough investigation clarifies exactly what happened during the raid. Our thoughts are with the Endurance family and loved ones. If official EFCC puts efforts used to chase young men into top corrupt politicians, there will not be fraudsters in the first place. But the institution cannot go after the corrupt officials because the institution itself is corrupt. Go after those holding back the progress of the country, those senators and honorables doing no constituency projects. Until then, the agency is just a tool to go after the youth. But when the time comes, the youth will fight back if the institution still carries out unintelligent acts. Wow, these are massive reactions we got from netizens, and this is just talking about the fears all of these law enforcement agencies just tend to create in the hearts of youth. Even a police officer, I could see some people running once they sight that uniform. They don't want to see, they don't want to get into troubles with all of these persons. But it's just so sad that Endurance could not just wait. He just jumped down from a 4-story building. This is a very tragic and heartbreaking story, Mr. Michael.
Well, anyway, it's a sad one, and I'll just rather take a different tone to it. I'll beg Nigerians, anytime you see most of these law enforcement agencies, there's no need running. Running from what? Sometimes even the way you feel, that confidence in you, the way you will respond to them will even make them feel, well, yeah, he seems to be in the right order. The truth about it is you need to know your rights, and Nigerians should start knowing their rights, especially young Nigerians that sometimes are being in every way harassed by these scrupulous security agencies. But please, jumping from a four-story building, what were you thinking? Were you trying to evade the operatives? Were you in doing something wrong? Because I'm wondering, when you are at your right, what point or what need is it in you jumping a four-story building? Sorry, you're not Spider-Man, neither are you Superman. But please always ensure that you stay alive, because it's important you do so. And please, let's learn. And we do know that there needs to be more as it concerns civil relationship between most of these military or paramilitary with Nigerians. But we too can also bear that belief that when you seem to be on your right, stand for it and defend your right. Don't run or don't flee.
Well, I really do not blame the deceased, because the way these people operate, Mr. Michael, I saw a viral video, I think about 2 weeks back, of somebody allegedly accusing the AFCC of coming to raid his house, his apartment, in his absence. And when I saw all of those videos, I felt it was armed robbers that actually came to the house to raid.
Which is better? Is it better to stay alive or to just even follow them there?
Okay, it's better to stay alive. Maybe he thought he would survive the jumping and all of that, but it's so sad that he didn't survive it. Well, our heart goes out to the family and the loved ones of Mr. Endurance Udeke, and we hope that God continue to protect all of us. Let's just calm down. When you see all of these people, like Mr. Michael said, let's just allow them do their duties. Once you know you're not guilty, you have no skeletons in your cupboard, allow them do their job. And if they are carrying you to the stations and all of that when you know you have done nothing wrong, and then this is trending, you can always come reach out on trending, and we'll definitely make your story trend. Yes, and you know you can contact us with all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram at Atlantic Media and TV. Drop your stories and we'll help you trend it right here on Trending. Yeah, away from that, the NDLEA has arrested a 40-year-old wanted drug kingpin, Yusuf Abayomi Aziz, at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. He was attempting to travel to Saudi Arabia for Umrah. During the arrest, operatives seized a staggering 148.3 kilograms of cocaine. This is a huge blow to drug trafficking networks in the country. This arrest shows that the NDLEA is intensifying its crackdown on drug barons, even at major airports. And this is, I think this is a good one. It's showing that the NDLEA, like I would always say, once you're doing your jobs well, I will always give you all the accolades you deserve. Yes, because this is the NDLEA really doing their jobs. They are doing their jobs, and we've been seeing all of these, all of the arrest and all of that going on. So they are really doing their jobs, and this is where we have to give them a shout out for doing their job, Mr. Michael.
Yes, yes, it's true. And you know, since the very man and the hems of affair, I'm talking about Major General Buba Marwa, retired, came on board, the NDLEA now have a new means of life. We are seeing them now being proactive, and the honest truth is we're getting more arrests than we used to before he came on board. And no surprise, that's why even President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had to let him continue on that very work he's doing. But apart from giving them thumbs up for more of the arrests, we need to start seeing many persons persecuted and jailed on account of drug peddling. We need to start hearing those cases rather than having lengthy cases and all of that. Let's start having them being persecuted and jailed. Then we'll believe at the end, the full justice have taken its full course. So we need to see more of those persecution arrests of these persons, not just apprehending them. That's not just what we need alone. They need to be persecuted and sent to jail.
Yes, of course, they need to be persecuted and sent to jail, so we don't get more of these persons. And then people maybe having the intentions to do, we just know that, oh, justice still works here in Nigeria, and then stay clear away from that. Yes, away from that, let's quickly rush into celebrity gossip. You know how I love celebrity gossip. Actress Uche Motana has come out strongly to absolve herself from claims from Ned Nwoko, saying, "I am not involved in all of this, your drug drama. You're tagging me." You remember Ned Nwoko came out to say some persons are actually making Regina do all of these drugs things. They are influencing her and all of that. And somehow we heard Uche Montana, and now she said she has no involvement or connection to the situation. Just see what she posted on Instagram. I wasn't going to say anything, but I feel it's important to clear the air. My attention has been drawn to a circulating post that appears to link my name to certain claims. For clarity, I have no involvement or connections to the situation described. This note is simply to set the record straight and protect my peace. And this is interesting. Imagine you're just on your own and then street bullets just hits you, that you're involved in all of these things. Well, thank God she came out to clear her name. So while we're still talking about that, Layla, the fifth wife of Ned Nwoko, finally broke the silence, and this time she's stating that she's too busy building her peace, signaling that she doesn't want to get entangled in all of this drama. So when all of these things are going on, she just took a break, she went on vacation and all of that, and she said she's busy building her peace. All of this are none of her business. And I just get to wonder, we're having Layla on one hand, we're having Uche Montana on one hand. Uche Montana is saying, I am not involved in all of this, your drug drama, Mr. Ned Nwoko. And Layla is saying, I am concentrating on my peace. You see, all of these things happening in the house, it's none of my business, Mr. Mike.
Well, anyway, that's the honest truth. You know, it seems to be getting messier by the day.
Yes,
and nobody will want to drag through the mud on account of another person's wahala. Let's put it that way. So I'm not surprised both ladies are trying to say, no, don't stain me with that red oil. I'm not a part of it. When you guys were having it all rosy, we were not invited to the game or to the party. Now you're having it really not too well, and now names are being called. Please take our names off your mouth, off the issues, and let's have our peace. You know, everybody will say the best way to resolve issues is when both of them finally sit down and understand that well, they have two lovely sons that needs the attention of both of the parents. Well, this might be true or not, even on social media, that we had Regina Daniel going to party yesterday. And
yeah, I saw that.
And,
so
and honestly,
I just believe it's an
why
old
would
video.
you want to put your head in something when somebody's enjoying herself? Come on. You definitely want to take your name away from there and get your own inner peace, because that's what she's finding. She's looking for her own inner peace. So, come on. I'm not surprised both ladies are saying, well, please keep us out of all of this mid-drama and melodrama and let us just concentrate on our effort of having internal peace and living our lives the way we should.
Exactly. So I actually saw that video yesterday and I was wondering, you just came out a few days back to give us some tears and all of that, and now you're busy clubbing and all of that. And maybe that's an old video. I don't know. I don't believe, and I do not want to believe that's a recent video, because some persons are busy having headaches because of your issue, and then you're in party clubbing, making it look like, oh, it's not a big deal. But so many persons are really feeling like it's a big deal. Well, we are still begging Ned Nwoko and Regina Daniels to see what they can do to solve all of these things, because it's becoming messier by the day, and we really do not like it because of the two beautiful kids, the two handsome sons involved, and this is going to affect them one way or the other, because the internet, like I always say, does not forget. They will grow up to see all of this drama of names calling and washing all dirty linens outside. These kids will grow up to see it. So this is something that they need to solve amicably. Like I would always say, solve all of this behind cameras, solve all of these outside social media, because so many people just want to talk on social media, and then maybe some of these things are getting into your head. But since you are involved, you should be able to solve your issue outside social media. Well, away from that, let's quickly take this very story. Yeah, I saw a very viral video circulating on X, formerly Twitter, that shows an articulated truck speeding down a highway on just 6 tires. That's 6 out of the usual 18 tires.
Wow.
The clip has sparked outrage over Nigeria's worsening road safety standards, highlighting the dangers posed by reckless drivers in poorly maintained vehicles. This is a stark reminder. Road safety is everyone's responsibility, from drivers to regulatory agencies. This is one thing that I just can't believe it's real. It's something you see, and then you get to ask yourself, how could this be possible?
Is this for real?
Like, it is for real.
You know, you know what's even baffling me about this is, number one, the truck is wrong. Number two, the road is bad. And number three, somebody is just there videoing, not knowing that that is even danger to his or her life.
Yeah.
The container can fall any moment, knowing that the road is bad, in a bad, deplorable state. And not only that, the container is not even being carried well.
Well, yeah.
Just come on. You know, this brings us back to the Federal Road Safety Corps. Your mandate is to ensure that our roads are safe. Seeing such vehicles ply the way, it's danger to itself. But sometimes, well, many of them just do look the other way, and it's not the best way to go. You know, we should really be road worthy and road conscious. We should not just live in the hands of the constitutional authorities. We on our own can deal with this. You know how many Nigerians have lost their life on account of having such bad vehicles plying the way and such cars carrying what they need not to carry? Many have gone and many are still going, but if we ensure that all of this is being put to an end by ourselves, we should be the police to hold these people accountable, then all of this nonsense, forgive my language, nonsense is what I call them, will definitely stop.
Yeah, it should stop because, okay, when it comes to road safety, I really do not want to start talking about road safety now. But I see cases when you're traveling, you see vehicles carrying heavy loads, like loads bigger than the vehicle.
And they pass some of these checkpoints being manned by Federal Road Safety Corps members.
They pass all of these checkpoints, and I just get to wonder, how did they pass all of these checkpoints with all of this road, risking the lives of their own lives and many other road users? And this is not something we want to talk about right now, because when I talk, it seems I am always dragging all of these law enforcement agencies. But no, once you do your duty, I give you a thumbs up. But right now, the road safety really needs to do better, because we don't want to have all of this endangering people's life in the country. We do not want to have more of this. Well, in as much as I am boiled right now, I want to go on and on, but sadly, time is not a friend of man. We really need to wrap things up right here on Trending. I've really had an amazing time. We had interesting stories, and it's been such an amazing time, from the dailies to the dialogue, the news, and now Trending. It's been amazing. And of course, you know, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, at Atlantic Media and TV. This is where I have to tell you that I will see you for another great edition of Trending and of Viewpoint, same time tomorrow on Atlantic TV. I remain Mercy Erabo. Do have a blessed day.
Anyway, I'm Michael Gobadia. You've said it all. Do have a blessed day. And let's see how we can do this same time, same station come tomorrow, when we will always enjoy to make your day truly enjoyable. Bye for now.